We are live. Hello and welcome to this live preview of All Elite Wrestling All Out on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. This to my left is Ralph Valenti. For those that are new to the show, don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications for the best talk in AEW, WWE, NXT, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Ralph, tonight is the night, our final show before AEW goes to TNT. And yes, I am talking about All Out. Now let's talk about the big rumor that everybody's talking about. It's in the title of the video, so let's just cover it before it gets too out of hand. CM Punk, Ralph. Will he return? Now, he did say at StarCast earlier today that he will not be participating at All Elite Wrestling All Out. He'll actually be home with his wife, AJ Lee. I don't know. Shoot or work, Ralph?
I think he's telling the truth. As much as I think I'd like to see him come back, and I think other people would like to see him come back, there's just a part of me that thinks he's not going to be there. I hope he's there. I'd want to see him come back, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard. But I think if he shows up, it might overshadow a lot of things that happened tonight for All Elite Wrestling All Out, including who becomes the first AEW champion, which we'll talk about later on in the show. We have an amazing ladder match set up tonight, the Casino Battle Royale, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. And, of course, we'll talk about any comments that you guys have in the Super Chats. And first, I do want to say thank you, Thomas Soley, for giving us $1.99 on the Super Chat. Anybody want to donate, make a comment, do so in our Super Chat right now. And he simply says AEW. Now, those that subscribe to our channel, go on the community page, see our polls. Every day we have a choice that says AEW, so I'm glad that people are following along with that. So, Tom, thank you for that. And, of course, again, donate on the Super Chat to help us make this show better, the Squared Circle Psychobabble. So now that we talked about CM Punk, I think with CM Punk, if he does show up, obviously it's going to be a surprise seeing that he already shot down the rumor, but I could totally see him doing some kind of like NXT kind of thing where they do the front row placement and they have him wait to the crowd just for a pop. I don't see him doing anything other than that. Now, there's so many ways where he could come into the show, but I think just for the sake of preventing anything huge to overshadow it, I'm going to go with that. That's the only thing we'll see, some kind of front row thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if he were to be there, I think he would be involved in, a run-in or something. I can't see them. Of course, him being there in the crowd would obviously get a good reaction, but I think that would still kind of be a letdown to people. So if he shows up, I think he's going to be involved in something. But like I said, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. I don't think he's going to be
now
there.
Saying that he said he's not going to be there because he wants to be with his wife, who they've been, I guess, not seeing each other the last few days because she's been out of town. I guess that would mean that AJ Lee will not be participating in the Casino Battle Royale as many people would like to expect or speculate or would wish.
Yep.
So if she shows up in the Casino Battle Royale, obviously that's going to create even more, oh my God, CM Punk is definitely showing up if AJ Lee's here. So I think that the Casino Battle Royale will definitely be the telltale sign of whether or not CM Punk is or is not there. If AJ Lee shows up in the Battle Royale, I say CM Punk won't be in. If AJ Lee is not in the Casino Battle Royale, I'm going to say the opposite. So basically the opposite. So if AJ Lee's not there, CM Punk will be. If AJ Lee is there, CM Punk won't be. That's what I'm saying with this. And I saw someone in the chats, how do I send money? Quick question. In the Super Chat, there's a button with a $sign on it. Just click that. Tell us how much you want to donate. Put it in a comment. We'll read it up on the show. So again, for those that want to donate to the Super Chat, thank you very much. And now let's get on to our predictions, Ralph. Our first match, let's go over, because we're talking about AJ Lee. So let's talk about the 21-woman Casino Battle Royale, where the winner will receive a match for the inaugural AEW Women's World Championship match. Of the 21, we have 11 announced. Britt Baker, Nyla Rose, Yuka Sakazaki, Brandi Rhodes, Awesome Kong, Teal Piper, daughter of the great Roddy Piper, former women's champion Jazz, Ivellise, Shazza McKenzie, and Allie. Any of these 11, you're going for a victory here?
Yeah, I'm going to take Britt Baker in this one because I feel like she's really the focal point of the women's division to this point. She's the one that really has gotten the most hype, the most attention, and all of that. So, if they're going to really build the women's division, I think that's the person they're going to build it around. So I'm going with her.
Now, there is someone else that's getting a lot of hype, and rightfully so. She is regarded as one of the best wrestlers ever for women wrestlers, and she's got a TV show that people like too, and that show is Glow, and the person that's on that show is Awesome Kong. Now, I could totally see Awesome Kong winning this match. However, my pick is none of the 11, and I actually just decided on this pick 10 minutes before we decided to go on the air with this. My pick is B. Priestley. I'm going with B. Priestley because as we saw at Fight for the Fallen, we did see some after the match altercation with Britt Baker and B. Priestley. So I think they're setting up some kind of future match. Now, obviously, this does not happen at All Out because they're going to be in the Casino Battle Royale. But obviously, this would add to the storyline if B. Priestley were to eliminate Britt Baker and eventually win, giving her that match and then somehow getting Britt Baker into the championship match in a different way. Maybe she tells Cody, like, listen, you got to do something, or Kenny, or whoever's running the women's division, you got to do something about this, and then they put her in for whatever reason. Some kind of shenanigans costs her the match, but then at the end, they add her in anyway, and that's your first AEW Women's Championship match.
Right.
So, let's see. I guess we'll continue with the other buy-in match here. That would be Private Party versus Angelico and Jack Evans. Now, this one here, wins and losses matter, Ralph, and they've stressed that a lot. But we have two tag teams going into this match that have yet to win. So who picks up their first win in AEW?
I'm going with Private Party in this one. I think that coming out of I believe it was Double or Nothing, right? They were in the triple threat match, I believe, and they probably got the highest praise out of anybody that was involved in that match.
That was Fighter Fest.
SCU as well.
That was Fighter Fest.
Fighter Fest, yeah. So I think Private Party definitely wins this one. I think that they're gonna now that they're in a situation where it's not necessarily a triple threat, they will really be able to highlight some of their talents. So I think that they're going to go over here. While Angelico and Jack Evans certainly are a good tag team, I feel like Private Party brings more to the table and that they'll be able to promote them a little bit better and kind of build them up as one of the better tag teams in that division. So I'm going with Private Party.
Not only that, you're also talking about, we already know in the first round of the tag team championship tournament that the Young Bucks will be facing Private Party. So I don't think they would want a team that's undefeated going against a team that's 3-0 because they'll be like, well, this team doesn't win. The Young Bucks, they're only winning. So I'm totally seeing that Private Party will go over on Angelico and Jack Evans. But I think this whole wins and losses matter thing eventually could shoot them in the foot because you're going to start getting into these positions like we're seeing here, Private Party versus Angelico and Jack Evans, where both teams have a loss, or both teams have yet to win. So who wins? Obviously, in this regard, I think Private Party needs to win more than Angelico and Jack Evans.
Right. Yeah. And, I think part of the problem right now is they've really been limited. They've only had a handful of shows and a couple of pay-per-views here and there. So once they go to TV, when they're trying to build up the whole, wins and losses matter, since that's what they're saying, that wins and losses are going to matter more than anything else. Once they go to TV, they'll really start to be able to establish, these are the top tier teams, or even in the singles competition, these are the top guys. This is their record and all of that. It's difficult to do it, especially when you've only had, 3 or 4 shows to this point. And okay, well, this guy's 0-2, he's 1-1, whatever it is. So again, I don't know, the wins and loss thing, it'll be difficult to do to a certain extent, but I think once they get to TV, it'll be easier to manage.
Yeah, it probably will be. But now that, with these 3 shows, you have teams that are obviously losing because of the matches that they're in, and you got guys that are obviously winning because of the matches they're in. But now they're in a position where, and this isn't the only match. There's a couple matches here where you have winless teams winless individuals facing each other, and we'll talk about that later on. So before we head into our main show here, the main matches on the night, if you want to donate, please go to a super chat here, donate, help us. Whatever contribution you can, help the channel, help the show grow. And of course, if you're new to the channel, for the best talk in AEW, WWE, NXT, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. All right, let's go to the main show. Actually, before we head to the main show, I forgot to ask, who do you think is the Joker in the Casino Battle Royale?
Oh man.
I mean,
I'll go on a.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I'll take a long shot here. I'm gonna say that we get AJ Lee. Why not?
That's your pick.
Because I did predict that. What was that, a couple months ago when we did our predictions? So I'll say
that was like
her.
a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I think the Joker is going to be the Smoke Show, who I believe is from Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, and that is Scarlett Bordeaux. I mean, we also heard rumors that AEW and Impact were in talks to get Tennille Dashwood into the match. Does that mean also we'll see Taya Valkyrie, who was just seen on Being the Elite? Does that mean as well that we'll see possibly Tessa Blanchard? I don't know. Could happen. But let's now head on to the main show. The first match is the Joshi match, which it's unconfirmed, but according to Dave Meltzer, the winner of this match will be in the AEW Women's Championship match. That will be on October 2nd. It's Riho versus Hikaru Shida. And I make sure I say Hikaru because I've seen a lot of shows, including our own, where they say it wrong. Instead of saying Hikaru Shida, they say Hiraku Shida. So for those that are nitpicking there, it's Hikaru Shida. Anyway, who you got in this match?
I'm going with Riho in this match.
Any reason?
Well, it's tough. I mean, they're both really good. I mean, from the limited amount that we've seen them, I don't know. It's tough. Like, this is one of those things where once they get to TV, once they start to establish their characters, and once they really are able to build them up, it'd be easier to pick one or the other. But right now, they're both kind of just two individuals who have been in matches, been able to highlight some of their talents, but not to really the full extent.
Right.
So again, once they get to TV, once they get more opportunities to do things and establish themselves, you know, I hate to make a comparison, but if you look at like some of the things like, obviously NXT has a weekly show. Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai, they're able to cement their type of characters. Being that there's only been 3 or 4 shows to this point, and they've only been on a couple of them off the top of my head, it's hard to really get into their character or be able to establish a character, especially when they're not doing certain segments where you're promoting a character. It's just, here's the match, here's what they can do, this is what they bring to the table. So, you know, it is what it is. But so I'm just taking a shot in the dark there. I'm going to say Riho.
I'm actually going to go with Hikaru Shida. I think out of all the Joshis that we've seen right now, Hikaru Shida is the best of them. And not just from what we've seen so far on the, I mean, she's only had one match, and that was at Double or Nothing in a 6-woman tag.
Right.
But from what I've seen before that, I even said in our Double or Nothing predictions, I think she's the blue chip in the Joshis. She has good ring psychology. She has good ring awareness. She's a good athlete. And to put icing on the cake, she's quite an actual good singer and could sing Bohemian Rhapsody. So I'm giving her the win on this one just for that as well. Also, Riho has been on every show so far. I think Hikaru Shida coming in, getting a big win over Riho, who has only lost one match, and that was a tag team match where she lost with Britt Baker against Bea Priestley and Shoko Nakajima. So I'm going to go with Hikaru Shida on this. So before our next match, I do want to say thank you to Cha with the $2 donation. Great work, guys. AEW, baby. Pay-per-view will be amazing. Let's hope so. I mean, the card is absolutely stacked, and we're just getting through the first match on the main card. But let's get to the second match on the main card. They're calling it the Cracker Barrel Clash. I'm calling it the Jim Cornette Cup because I know by the end of this match, Jim Cornette will have an aneurysm. We're going to have to check on Twitter to see if he's okay. And I'm sure we're going to have a video that's going to be having a lot of views and a lot of likes and dislikes on this. But Darby Allin versus Joey Jelly Janela and Jimmy Havoc. Who you got?
Definitely taking Darby Allin in this match. I think he's got the most upside. I think he's really the one that probably has the most steam coming into the match. And by that, what I mean is he obviously he had his match with Cody Rhodes, and I think that there's a lot of loose ends that they still need to tie up on that. I think that eventually, once they build Darby Allin up, him and Cody Rhodes will have a lengthy feud. It will obviously revolve around the fact that Cody Rhodes could not pin him. You can't get to that point. You can't build Darby Allin back up unless he goes through a match like this and starts winning. Joey Janela, it is what it is. I think he's kind of the guy that people are going to start to know as doing the crazy shit and, having the hardcore type matches. And Jimmy Havoc is very similar, but when you talk about most marketable and the guy that they'd be able to build up the most, it's going to be definitely Darby Allin. And I think that he's going to be the one to win this match.
I agree with what you're saying here. And like I said, there was another match where no one has a win yet heading into the match. And this is that case where Darby Allin, he is 0-1-1. Joey Janela coming in at 0-2 if you don't want to count the unsanctioned match as a loss. And Jimmy Havoc has yet to win himself. So all of them heading into AEW need wins here. I think they've showcased Janela, obviously, in his match with Jon Moxley, and Darby Allin in his match against Cody Rhodes. But Jimmy Havoc really has kind of got lost in the shuffle here.
Sure.
Yes, he was in the Casino Battle Royale, and he stapled the cigarette onto Joey Janela's head. Yes, he was in that fatal four-way with Hangman, MJF, and Jungle Boy. But we have yet to really see him in like a big spot in AEW yet. So I'm actually going to go with Jimmy Havoc pulling an upset here. I wouldn't be surprised if Darby takes the win, but I think Jimmy Havoc pulls the upset here.
Right.
So either way. Again, guys that are just joining us here, thank you for joining us on the AEW All Out live preview. If you're new to the channel, want the best conversations in AEW, WWE, NXT, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, hit subscribe and that bell for notifications. And if you want to help us out financially, just hit that super chat, donate whatever you can, give us a comment, and we'll read it out on the show. The next match is a 6-man tag, Ralph. A boy and his dinosaur and their fun-sized pal go up against SCU, SoCal Uncensored, Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt against Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. This is going to be a fun match. This one could be the match of the night. I mean, there's a lot of good matches here. This one might be a surprise because there's 6 really good guys in the ring in this match. Who do you got?
Well, first of all, I'm going to disagree with you on the whole 6 really good guys. I'm not sure Marco Stunt really falls into that category. But in any event, I am going to take Luchasaurus. I am going to take Jungle Boy, and I am going to unfortunately take Marco Stunt. But I do think that Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are one of the most over things in AEW. I think that's really a team that people can get behind. SCU, it's weird because they were really one of the teams that really was pushing AEW in the very beginning of the promotion of or development of AEW. And it seems like they really haven't done too much. And I feel like they're a tag. Well, obviously this isn't a tag team match, but they're a tag team that can really kind of, help build that tag team division. And it seems like they've been kind of overlooked to this point. And I don't know if that's just because, they're put in situations like this where people didn't necessarily anticipate Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy being as over as they truly are with the crowd, or what it is. But yeah, that's just how I feel about SCU to this point. But in any event, I am gonna unfortunately have to pick against SCU tonight.
I mean, see, the thing with Jungle Boy, I mean, they really love Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. They are really pushing them. They're bringing them to all these little TV exec things and,
right.
All that stuff. Obviously, Jungle Boy being the son of Luke Perry helps. Luchasaurus, the more I see him off are out of a ring and doing like the I have a master's degree and actually talking intelligent, the more I kind of like him. I don't know why. It makes no sense that he's this fighting dinosaur, but yet he has a master's degree. But I'm liking the character more and more as he talks. SCU, I think, is one of those teams where they're going to be over regardless if they win or lose, so they can take the loss. But Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, Marko Stunt, here's another team. No wins yet, so I think that balances out, and we get a win for Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marko Stunt here. And I do think that Marko Stunt is going to be heavily involved in this. So, obviously, we know what Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus can do. Don't know yet what Marko Stunt can do unless you go on YouTube and see his matches. And for a guy that's my size, I'm 5'7", 166. I think, what's he, 5'2", 140? I don't know the exact height and weight, but I mean, maybe he's gonna prove us.
Maybe we'll get Superhuman to be in the match.
No, not Superhuman. But if that happens, that match is gonna be for all the Diggleos and Digglettes. Whoop whoop. Thank you for the 20. I think that's euro. 20 euro donation on the super chat there. Stefan Skirt, who said, "I'm ready and hyped. Keep up the good work, guys." Thank you for the donation there. Our next match, we'll stick with the tag teams. The winner receives a first-round bye in the AEW Tag Team Championship Tournament. The Best Friends, Chuckie T and Trent Baretta, against the Dark Order, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson. I'm going to take the Dark Order, Ralph. I know, the Dark Order is AEW's Baron Corbin, except the Dark Order has absolutely no reaction right now. They're trying to push these guys to be like a top heel. It's just not working. The difference is at least Baron Corbin gets a reaction. The Dark Order gets the same reaction as a wet fart so far. I mean, they're just not clicking, but I do think they get a win here over the Best Friends because the Best Friends can have a really good showing in the tag team tournament and still end up winning and avenging that loss in the finals to the Dark Order in the tag team tournament. So who do you got in this one?
I'm definitely going to take the Dark Order, but I do agree with you. Especially if you're a heel. Well, for that matter, if you're a professional wrestler, I think the worst thing that could possibly happen is just the crowd being silent. You want them to either cheer or you want them to boo you. So whether you're a heel or a face, as long as you're getting a reaction out of the crowd, that's what you want. To date, they really haven't gotten a strong response, positive or negative, from the crowd, but it seems like they're still going to try to push them, and they really need to get them, on track. So I think that they need to continue to try and have them win, and hopefully eventually people, if they're going to be heels, hopefully people start booing them, but we'll see what happens. But I do think the Dark Order wins.
I think Stu Grayson, that's the bald one without the mask, I think there's some potential there. Evil Uno, I think Evil Uno is the reason why I'm kind of turned off by them and have no reaction, because he's just sitting there with all those minions, and it's like, who are you and why do you have minions? And it's like, I mean, I guess if you followed them in the independents as the Super Smash Brothers, you might have an idea with this, but the only Super Smash Brothers I know is the video game on the Nintendo's console. So again, like I said, Dark Order takes the win there. Should we go with the last tag team match? Yeah, let's do that. Escalera de la Muerta for the AAA Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, against the Lucha Brothers, Cero Miedo, Pentagon and Rey Fenix. Ralph, who you got?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I think that we're going to see the Lucha Brothers win this one.
Yeah, I agree. I know this isn't part of the predictions, but let's just do it anyway, because I know it's going to happen. Let's play some over and unders, Ralph. Over, under, 15 super kicks.
Over in this match alone. We're going to see a shit ton of super kicks, a lot of apron spots. And by apron spots, I mean they're going to hit the edge of the ring there with either like who the hell knows, a suplex, reverse Rana, a package pile. I don't know, all types of crazy shit. But yeah, over 15 super kicks in this match alone, I think.
How many stunts off the ladder? Over, under 7.
Infinity. All types of crazy shit. This is going to be that match that if you talk about Jim Cornette, he's going to watch this thing and his skin is literally going to melt off his body because there will be no storytelling. This is probably going to be high spot after high spot after high spot. It will make no sense as far as a traditional wrestling match will be, but it will be crazy, and I'm sure fans will go crazy for it as well, and rightfully so, because these guys are going to throw caution to the wind, probably go out there, put a ton of effort, crazy spots left and right. It'll be a good match. It's just going to be it's not going to be your Shawn Michaels Razor Ramon for the IC title ladder match. This is going to be one for the newer fan who just wants fast paced.
Now
Craziness.
I know we're kind of already, like, all these tag team matches, I feel like they're all going to be like that though. I mean, you could see fast paced stuff in the 6-man tag. You could see obviously some flips and fast paced stuff in Private Party versus Angelico and Jack Evans. Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks obviously is going to be pedal to the metal from the beginning. I think the slowest match of the night is going to be Best Friends versus Dark Order, but they also do their fair share of stunts. So it's like, this is going to be a very high intense, fast paced flips, dives, stunts kind of show. And they're really showcasing their tag teams. And that's something that AEW really stressed on, is that they want to have the best tag team in the world, the best tag team division in the world. Now, I think we're going to have a full-on episode on this down the line, especially with the Wednesday Night Wars coming in October. But quickly, do you see AEW right now as the best tag team division? Don't need to go into detail, just a yes or no. They do have the best tag team division. I would agree.
Yes.
So, speaking of
has more to do with the bad booking of WWE more so than the talent, though. Again, a topic for a conversation at another day.
And guys, if you want to make your comments in the super chat, please do so. Donate, hitting that $sign and whatever amount you want to do, and of course, make a comment. We'll read it out on here with any donation that you can to help support the Squared Circle Psycho Babble. And if you're new to the channel, want to hear the best conversations in AEW, WWE, NXT, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. So we're heading to our big 3 matches of the night. 2 of them we disagreed on earlier episodes on which will be the match of the night. You want to go with your match first or my match first? All right.
Let's go with yours. We'll save the best for last.
So my match is first, and I said the match of the night is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Shawn Spears. So before we pick a winner, we know that Cody is going to have one person in his corner, but we don't know who that one person is yet. Who's it going to be? Yep.
In Cody's corner? If I were to take a wild guess, I'm going to say DDP.
DDP. Okay. Why DDP?
Well, I mean, he's been on a couple of the shows here and there. He's obviously has a good relationship with Cody. And I think that, unless it's his brother, you got to, unless this is going to be some huge reveal, it's got to be somebody that will just be crowd pleasing. And I think if you have somebody like him, he's a big enough name where people will be happy with that. Obviously, there's other names that have been thrown around. Arn Anderson, that'd probably be a good one. But I'm going to go with DDP because the relationship there between those two is probably more established.
I mean, DDP, I guess it makes sense, but at the same time, I see someone more like, I could see Dustin. Arn Anderson, you already threw out there. I think now, because we know he has no match yet, you have to say that the guy is going to be MJF. It's got to be MJF. How does he not have a match at All Out? The biggest pay-per-view of the company, and this guy's supposedly going to be one of your top heels and has been showcased a hell of a lot, and this is the perfect place for him. How can you not have MJF? It's got to be MJF. Unless it's Arn Anderson.
Well, you don't need him. See, you don't need him to be in the corner though to get
No,
involved
but it
in the
makes
match.
more sense and it's better
You know,
storytelling,
so
I think. I get what you're saying. He could still run in and affect the match in some way. Maybe whoever. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
I was going to just ask you, do we agree that eventually down the road this means that MJF is going to be turning on Cody at some point?
I think since maybe February or March, you could say that this could happen. So, yeah. I mean, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. I just don't. A lot of people are saying tonight's the night that it happens. I don't think that's happening tonight.
Hell, they could have Pharaoh in the corner.
They could have Pharaoh in the corner. Why would you have a dog in the corner though? I mean, yes, it's going to get a pop, but why?
I was obviously
I know, but
being
still.
sarcastic.
Thank you, Solid State Gaming, for your $5 donation on the Super Chat. You guys are my favorite wrestling news and discussions. Thank you. Let us know if your favorite discussions are in AEW, WWE, NXT, or New Japan Pro Wrestling, because we do all that. So, all right. Now, you say DDP. I say MJF. Who wins? Yep.
Who wins this match? Oh man, I think in order to build this storyline a little bit more, you need Shawn Spears to win, even if he winds up winning in like a fluky way, where if Blanchard gets involved or somebody gets involved and costs Cody the match, because once Cody wins, or if Cody wins for that matter, and he wins clean and decisively, where do you go from there? I mean, Cody's been booked pretty strong to this point. The thing is this. Cody Rhodes before this, and I'm not talking about what he did in the WWE because obviously he wasn't booked the strongest in WWE. So let's just talk about what he's been able to do after he left WWE. He was in the Bullet Club. He became a member of the Elite. He became the American Nightmare. He really reinvented himself because this whole American Nightmare type gimmick and character, while it's himself, it's really the thing that got him the most notice in the wrestling industry. He's established. He's a star outside of the WWE. He was able to do that. Now, Shawn Spears, on the other hand, he is at the very beginning of trying to transition into a new character. He's no longer the Perfect 10. He's no longer Ty Dillinger, the guy that he was in NXT. That's dead and gone. He's got to rebrand himself. He needs a win here. I think AEW knows he needs a win here. I think he wins, even if it's in a fluky finish. I think Shawn Spears needs to win more than Cody Rhodes, and I think that this will extend the feud out further once they go to TV, have a couple of rematches, help establish Shawn Spears, help build him up. Cody Rhodes, if he loses, so be it. He won't lose too much from it. But I think Shawn Spears really needs to win. I agree.
Shawn Spears needs to win. In fact, it's funny because I posted this on our Facebook group. And those that are not on our Facebook group, you can head to facebook.com/SCPB podcast and like us there. I put up a poll. Who wins this match? And it was like, I was actually surprised. It was like almost 70-30 in favor of Cody Rhodes winning this match. And I found that interesting because I think, I agree with you that Shawn Spears needs this win, especially to establish his new character. Cody has won a match, lost a match, and had a draw in a match. So I don't think this really affects him too bad if he loses because he always get wins back on weekly television. And Cody I don't think is going to be in the title picture for a while. So it's not like his wins and losses will really matter at the start until you get him to start racking wins down the line. I think this story is not done at All Out, and we will see details further. So I say Shawn Spears gets the win, and I think Tully Blanchard gets involved with this. I don't think it's an MJF turn. Like I said, MJF, I think, will be in the corner, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Arn Anderson and they both get involved somehow, and maybe this starts some new Four Horsemen where it's, I just thought of something. A new Four Horsemen in AEW. Arn, Tully, Shawn, and MJF.
Didn't they bid for the copyright for that
Arn
name
did,
too?
Yes. I don't think he got it.
That was a while ago.
Arn did. And I know Ric Flair just filed the trademark for the man, but Yeah,
I did see
but
that.
I don't think they got that trademark. I could be wrong. I'll have to do some details. If anybody in the chat knows, let us know if what the outcome of that filing of the trademark for the Four Horsemen was. But so yeah, we both agree Shawn Spears wins and furthers this storyline out. So let's head to your match of the night, a match that we only knew about this past Sunday because Jon Moxley was removed from it due to his case of MRSA. So his replacement is the bastard himself, Pac. So Pac against Kenny, the best bout machine, Omega. Who you got?
This is tough. This is tough, especially because Pac, this is his first match. Do they really want to see him lose? Or are they really going to have him lose? I think that eventually Omega, Moxley is going to heal. Obviously, we know that. He'll come back. They can extend the feud out with him and Omega. They can do that without having Omega win. And as much as I think Omega needs the win here, I don't see Pac losing his first match in AEW. So I'm going to go with Pac in this one.
Pac definitely need well, here's the thing. What is the status of Pac? We've heard different things about what Pac will be doing in AEW. Obviously, he's still with Dragon Gate, so is he doing back and forth? Will that affect how they book him in AEW? Will he be booked more strongly or not as strong because he won't be there as frequently? So, and of course, a lot of people have been saying, Kenny's been losing, so he needs the win here. Kenny's 2-1. He only lost at Double or Nothing. He has won at Fyter Fest, and he won at Fight for the Fallen. So it's not like he's on some losing streak.
Yep.
He could lose this and still be at 500. If Pac loses, he's 0-1. And if you want to put him in the main event picture, he already lost to Omega, who already lost to Jericho. Pac was supposed to face Hangman Page, who could lose tonight for the AEW Championship. I mean, I think it muddies the AEW Championship more if you have him lose tonight. I think it clears it out much better by having him win, if that makes sense. Okay.
It makes sense. It's tough. It's tough because especially in a company where they keep saying wins and losses are going to matter more than anything, and especially a guy like Kenny Omega. I mean, Kenny Omega really earned his reputation and got a lot of notoriety, obviously, for the stuff he did in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Some of the matches he had, obviously, against Okada, and it was just literally that's where he earned the best bout machine nickname. It was match after match after match. He was able to deliver, and I certainly feel like he's able to deliver at that level still. And I think tonight you're going to see that in a match where he's against a guy like Pac who can really complement, his approach and style. But he just hasn't been active, and that's not his fault. It's just that AEW hasn't had TV, and they've only had a handful of matches. A handful of pay-per-views and shows to this point. So it's tough because Omega really needs to get back on the path where he's, considered the best bout machine because he's having these great matches. His most notable win to date, especially in AEW, has been Shima, which it was a good match, but it's not Okada.
True.
You know what I
mean?
So
over-under, we'll play the over-under game again. Over-under 5 V-triggered knees from Omega.
Under. I'd say over if he was in a match against Buddy Murphy, because I feel like Buddy Murphy and him are very similar in their
after
style.
Watching Buddy Murphy the last couple of weeks, I've seen that. They're like, the only thing different about them is their finisher. Like, obviously, Buddy Murphy's not doing the one-winged angel, but his finisher, what's it called? Murphy's Law, I think. It's somewhat like the one-winged angel, but not quite.
Well, he even does that similar move to the Rise of the Terminator that Kenny Omega does. So, and I think they've had some fun back and forth on Twitter, maybe going back a year or two ago, where they were teasing that they were going to have a match.
That would be
obviously that can't happen with one being in AEW, the other one being in WWE.
But if you believe some people saying that Vince McMahon will buy AEW in 2 years, it could happen, but I doubt that. I am seeing some people in the chat saying that the Pac match is actually a one-off. Now, again, I don't know if that's 100% true. That is part of the rumor that's going on, that this match is a one-off. So, I mean, this one is probably the hardest match to predict tonight. I'm going to go with Pac winning, and you said Pac too, right? Okay.
I did.
Our main event. Did I miss any matches? Just double check. No, I got them all. So we're at our main event. And again, if you're new to the channel, want to hear the best conversations in AEW, WWE, NXT, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. And if you want to help us tonight, support the channel, hit that super chat. Give us any dollar donation that you can to help support the channel. Give us a comment. We'll read it out on the show here. We're heading to our final match. The only two guys that are undefeated singles wrestlers in AEW going for the AEW Championship. Hangman Adam Page versus Chris Jericho. Do we finally say thank you to Jericho?
Well, I do think Chris Jericho is going to win this match, and I do think he'll be demanding an apology afterwards. And then, who knows? Maybe we get another run-in, whether it's CM Punk or somebody else, some type of surprise entrant at the end. But, yeah, I think Jericho wins this.
I agree. I do say CM Punk, but, going into this, Adam Page is the only singles wrestler so far that has competed on all three shows and has won all three of his matches. Obviously, they like something him. So I totally see that. I totally see this being a Jericho win. However, Hangman Page could win this. I mean, I think Jericho would be the better win, but they've been really pushing Hangman Page to be like the face of the company, I think. Would you agree?
I mean, they certainly have been. He's booked strong to this point, but again, Jericho as your champion, that gives a lot of credibility to the company, especially going to TV and all that stuff. And I think that's why Jericho ends up winning here. He's just a bigger name. He's just a bigger draw, at least for right now. Hangman Page, he's known by the AEW fan base, but if they're going to grow and get bigger and attract new fans, especially some of those lapsed fans like we discussed the last time, you're going to really need Jericho to be that guy to carry the title. In my opinion. We talked
about this on our last episode of the Squared Circle Psychobabble. We basically said that AEW needs to put the belt on Jericho. And we've talked about, what about the backlash that could happen if he has a part-time schedule like Brock Lesnar, or if, it's basically the opposite of what they're trying to push, this young, fresh company. We're not going to have part-timers take the spotlight, but yet they're going to have Jericho be the first champion. We already know that whoever wins this will be defending the title on the second show of AEW on TNT. So maybe if Jericho wins, his reign won't be too long. But I did miss a donation on the super chat, so let me just get to that really quick. Metal Gear 664, $2. Thank you very much. Saying Kenny Omega versus Pac is going to be a crazy match. This match here, I think a lot of people are really talking about it, because I think a lot of people are assuming that Jericho's going to win. Now, we haven't really talked about this, but do you feel that when a match is predictable and you kind of know who wins, does that have an effect negatively to a match?
It definitely can, because it helps people it hurts as far as people being able to get invested in the match. So, yeah, I mean, from a live perspective, if 70% or whatever, however, a higher percentage of the crowd thinks that Jericho is going to win the match and they're not into the match, and that obviously is going to translate through to anybody watching the match on TV, that doesn't make for a good atmosphere, and people have a hard time buying into things. So, yeah, I think that if it's a predetermined thing or people just assume that Jericho's going to win this, it will hurt the match.
I mean, but if everyone's assuming that Jericho's going to win and then Hangman actually wins, does that really help Hangman? and help AEW that, hey, Hangman did what it took to beat the guy that everyone assumed was going to be the first AEW champion. And that kind of helps build the title already, despite having Jericho lose the first match where he's the more recognizable name.
I mean, I guess it depends on how they book him going forward from tonight. They can certainly build him up. I just and from the comments that I've seen people make about him,
about Hangman,
most of the people about Hangman and Jericho, most of the people who feel like Jericho's going to win think he's going to win it because he brings legitimacy to a title that has yet to be worn by anybody, and I agree with that. And that's one of the main reasons why I think he's going to win. But for a guy like Adam Hangman Page, I think a majority of the people who feel like he's not winning is because he's just not ready for it, and he's not a big enough name outside of AEW yet where he's going to draw, a new fan base or the lapsed fans. So,
well, see, here's the argument that I could say about this. They sold out Double or Nothing. They sold out All Out. Close to a sellout at Fyter Fest, close to a sellout at Fight for the Fallen. There were still some seats left, but basically a sellout. They sell out their first 3 shows in Washington, D.C., Boston, and Philadelphia. Sold out again in Chicago for November 27th. So obviously, whatever audience they're targeting are obviously buying in. So do they necessarily have, yes, they do, but do they really have to go hard at diversifying their fan base like WWE does? And if they don't, does it make sense to have Hangman win the title then because everyone's already behind him?
Well, here's the thing. How big? Yes, they've been able to have a lot of success to this point, but how big is the fan base really? It's going to matter how big that fan base is once they go to TV. If they're drawing, viewers 300,000, I don't think TNT is going to be too happy with those numbers. And unfortunately, the champion has to be the main draw in the company. I mean, WWE, it's an established company. They can take risks with guys like Jinder Mahal being a champion. JBL comes to mind where maybe he wasn't the most over guy. Usually the champion is the guy that's going to draw the house. That's why John Cena holds the belt so much. That's why guys like Brock Lesnar has held the belt, even though people didn't agree with it. So you got to have ratings. You got to be a draw. And Adam Hangman Page, I think he's talented enough to be that guy eventually, but I just don't – I don't know if he's there yet. I know he's beloved by the AEW fan base that they have now, but if they're truly going to be successful for the foreseeable future, and then obviously 20 years from now, 10 years from now, however long they want to be in business, they have to build him up. And you can do that with a guy like Jericho because, one, he'll attract the lapsed fans and he brings credibility to the company.
No, definitely.
So
I agree. But
I don't know.
Like I said in our previous episode, whoever wins this obviously will depend on who they have in place or in the plans to be the second champion. To me, I think the only way Hangman Page wins tonight is if in their plans, MJF is the next AEW champion. I mean, I think there's more babyface possibilities to be the next AEW champion, whether it's Omega. I guess Moxley is a face right now. Maybe he's a tweener. Cody could potentially be it. You can even go Hangman Page if they want to go with this like Johnny Gargano type chase with him. I mean, there's more possibilities there. So I could totally, so either MJF is the second champion, one of those 4, or if Pac is more than a one-off, maybe he's the second AEW champion. And we have that match, Pac versus Hangman, that we did not get at Double or Nothing. So
yeah, sure.
This one is, again, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Jericho's winning, but we don't know how Tony Khan thinks. And Tony Khan might be like, you know what, forget with predictability and let's just go with Hangman because he's our future and we're going to book for the future, not the present, which some people do. They in sports, they build their teams around the future, not necessarily the present, and it benefits in the end. So,
I'm reading a comment here that somebody said Brock Lesnar isn't a proven draw. Do you disagree with that?
Oh, yeah. He definitely is a proven draw. I mean, anytime he's on, the ratings do go up. Merchandise.
Not only that, look at what he did outside of the WWE and the UFC at all the
But
pay-per-views he sold.
I think that comment more is today, where today he's not a draw anymore because people are just so sick of him, but he still gets a reaction. I think people still, whether you like him or hate him, you have a feeling towards Brock Lesnar. I think anytime he's promoted for a show, obviously more people watch. When he's promoted for a pay-per-view, obviously more people are subscribed to the network and watch those pay-per-views. So I don't think Lesnar is not a draw. Is not a draw. The double negative. He is a draw. So, I mean, and the same thing. I think Jericho could be AEW's Brock Lesnar, where he's not there all the time, but when he's there, it's going to be important. He's going to help with ratings. And you know, I'm seeing in the comments too. You know, Fozzie's going on tour. Now, I don't know their tour dates. I know they just played at Mohegan Sun a couple weeks ago in Connecticut, where we're from. But I'm pretty sure AEW's schedule is not WWE's, where they're on the road 5 out of 7 days of the week. They're only doing one TV taping right now. We don't have any house shows booked or future pay-per-views booked. So he could do the weekly television, be there all the time, and not be the part-timer while still being the part-timer like Lesnar is. So, all right, so we made our predictions. Let's go over some, like, I guess, side predictions here. We already did some over and unders. Who do you think tonight is showcased, like, has the most impressive night in the ring, or that people will be talking about at the end of the night for their match, individual or tag team?
Well, I'm going to go with my prediction for match of the night previously, Omega and Pac. I think they're going to have the best match of the night. I think this is really going to be the chance for Kenny Omega to get back on that path where people are considering him the best wrestler in the world, mostly because he's been inactive so much, but that now he's got a counterpart in Pac where they can go out there and steal the show, and I think that they're going to put on an amazing match.
You know who I think... You know what? I think this is a night for Shawn Spears to really shine. And not just because I'm saying that's going to be the match of the night.
It's a huge night for him. It's a huge
Kenny
night
Omega
for him.
and Shawn Spears, this is the most important night of their wrestling careers. Yes, I know Kenny Omega has had the 4 arguably of the greatest matches of all time against Kazuchika Okada, but not many people outside of New Japan Pro Wrestling fans and diehard wrestling fans know who Kazuchika Okada is, sadly, because he is the best wrestler in the world, in my opinion, or Kenny Omega. So this is a chance for everybody in the world to see what Kenny Omega is all about. Same with Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears is a guy who many people don't really remember Like, I was actually having a conversation with someone in the comments section in a video earlier this week where he's saying that Shawn Spears doesn't matter because he's that guy that got super kicked by Shawn Michaels in a backstage segment. Obviously, Shawn Spears does not want to be known as that guy.
He has the most to prove tonight. He has to. This is the first step in a new direction for Shawn Spears. It's a totally new gimmick. It's a totally new persona that he's trying to take on. So he needs to go out there and have a good match. He can't just have it go out there and lay a dud because, you know, he came to All Elite Wrestling for a fresh start and a new beginning because he felt like he wasn't getting his due in WWE. Obviously, he was the perfect 10 guy in NXT, and that worked for a little bit. But you know, he has the most to prove tonight, I think, of anybody that's in any matches. Who has the most
to lose tonight? Like, if they have an absolute dud, who like loses a lot of stock if they're just have a bad match? I say that could actually be if Jericho versus Hangman is a bad match, like let's say less than like 2 or less stars on the Meltzer scale or whatever you guys want to say. If it's an absolute stinker, that there is going to put a lot of stock drop on both Hangman and Jericho. That match has to at least be a decent match to end the night.
Well, especially because it's such an important match. I mean, it's the match for to crown the first heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, that they need to go out there and have a good match. I mean, I think they will. Does make me a little bit nervous because, again, a lot of these guys haven't been necessarily as active as you probably like to see them. You know, Jericho, he's he's more or less a part-time wrestler. I think he's probably only wrestled a handful of times in the past a year, maybe 5 times, and I don't even know if it's been 5 times. So
let's see. He wrestled at Double or Nothing. He wrestled at Dontaku. He wrestled at. Was he at Wrestle Kingdom this year?
he wrestled. He didn't wrestle Okada yet. Is he wrestling
did.
Okada?
Dominion. That was at Dominion. I'm sorry, not
Dominion.
Dontaku.
Yeah,
It was Dominion. He lost that match. Was he at Wrestle Kingdom though? I'm trying to remember. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. I can't remember whether or not he wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom. Forgot, guys. Correct me. Help me out here in the chats. But again, before we continue on here, Stefan Skirt again, €5 donation on the super chat. Thank you again. Saying, okay, guys, have fun, and we see after. Whoop whoop. Again, he must be a superhuman fan. Whoop whoop. Yeah. You know who I'm really excited to see tonight, though? I'm really excited for these Joshi women. Riho and I almost did it again. Hikaru Shida. I think that match is really going to showcase the Japanese women because we haven't really seen them in a one-on-one match, and this is their first chance to showcase. And I think these are the two, out of all the Joshis that we've seen, these are the two best ones. And I think this match is going to be a very good match. And maybe this is for a spot at the AEW Women's Championship, but yes, there it is. Thank you. 50898. He wrestled Naito at Wrestle Kingdom for the Intercontinental Championship. That's right.
Yep.
So, all right. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us here. And again, if you're new to the channel, want to know the best in AEW, WWE, NXT, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Enjoy All Elite Wrestling's All Out, which you can watch the buy-in on YouTube, on Bleacher Report Live, ITV4, order on Fight TV. And of course, the big match of the night is Hangman Page versus Chris Jericho for the AEW Championship. Ralph, this is going to be a fun night. We'll talk to you all tomorrow when we review the show. For Ralph Valenti, my name is Michael Valenti. Thank you for watching the Squared Circle Psychobabble. Good night, everybody. Enjoy the show.